So in this segment, we're going to be talking about a few different things here, but we're going to start off with Sunak facing a backlash over public sector pay freeze. So this is typically NHS workers and teachers and police officers. So Sunak is facing a backlash amid reports that he wants to impose a pay freeze on millions of public sector workers. This hasn't been confirmed yet, but he hasn't denied it either. So I'm thinking he's either his calculation is he's going to do a pay increase and be like, oh, you guys shouldn't believe the speculation, or he's going to be like, yeah, this is happening because we're broke, and we're going to be talking about why that's simply not the case. And we spoke extensively about like PPE corruption and jobs for mates and all that stuff, so that's not going to be super relevant in this video, even though it is in some ways. So it says here the Chancellor is looking to ways to bolster the public finances after a huge rise in spending to fight coronavirus. Those affected include key workers lauded for their service during the pandemic, such as police officers, teachers, armed forces, and civil servants, while frontline NHS staff would be excluded. Unions have expressed outrage, calling the plan insulting. So generally, I think nurses and student doctors, they have separate plans when it comes to their funding. So they agree contracts, I think, as a whole with the government. It's a weird system they have. The Treasury said it did not comment on speculation, but pointed out that public sector pay restraint was mentioned by Sunak in a letter in July, outlining his plans for a spending review. So he's been planning this for a while. Details of that review and how much money would be allocated to departments during the 2021-22 year are due to be unveiled next week. The letter outlined that in the interest of fairness, we must exercise restraint in future public pay afterwards, ensuring that across this year and the spending review period, public sector pay levels retain parity with the private sector. So, these people aren't going to get a pay increase. And it's sad, especially when the MPs are getting a pay increase, especially with teachers. They had a very stressful year, having to learn and deal with online learning, as well as, dealing with, catching COVID potentially from kids. Which is a lower chance than catching it from an adult, but they're still the ones in school. Schools are still open now, and so look, I feel for them. They should be getting a pay increase, definitely, not just for this year because of COVID, but for generally they don't get paid enough. So it's just embarrassing. This argument of balancing the books and all this stuff is a joke. And these are 201 NHS health and care workers who have died with coronavirus. And all of them deserve a pay increase. The care workers, the nurses, the doctors, every key worker deserves a pay increase because they're the ones that have kept this country going. Not the MPs. They're the ones who have botched our pandemic response. They don't deserve a pay increase. These people deserve a pay increase because of what they've done. They sacrificed themselves so this country can keep going. Nurses, doctors, police officers, firefighters, shop staff. All of these people deserve some sort of pay increase or, some sort of, a lump sum from the government here because they've kept this country going, especially when we were desperate. And so this argument of, the money thing, it doesn't make sense when we're spending £16.5 billion in defence spending over the next 4 years. And look, I get it, I get you want to avoid situations like this where, British ships are being seized in the Strait of Hormuz by Iran and other countries that do dodgy actions. I get that. But the problem here is it's not going to that. It's not going to the Navy by the looks of things, or the vast majority of it. It's going to, a new centre dedicated to artificial intelligence, the creation of a national cyber force, which he said was already operating against terrorist, organised crime groups and hostile states, a new RAF Space Command launching British satellites, and our first rocket from Scotland in 2022. And what we know is that this country, when they bought, the British government bought OneWeb, they bought the wrong kind of satellite company. And so what that means is they have no idea what they're doing. These people have no idea what they're doing. And so they're spending money in AI, right? And unless they listen to the experts here, this money's going to be wasted for the most part. Just like they've wasted money with the COVID contracts, just like they've wasted money employing Kate Bingham and Dido Harding and the third person, this money will be squandered. It's gonna be a joke. I get it. If you want to do stuff like this, it makes sense. But Boris Johnson talking about how he wants to use this increase in military spending to improve Britain's influence, and that means you're going to use more hard power tactics. So the difference between soft power and hard power is soft power is more influence and things like that. Right, you shouldn't do these things for these reasons. I'm just questioning, is sanctions soft power or hard power? So hard power is classed as economic sanctions. So that's interesting. Because I wasn't 100% sure on that one. But soft power is more your general influence, um, cultural and things like that. That's seen as more soft power. And that's more where the UK should be looking at. Looking at hard power options, not going to end well, especially in a world with nuclear weapons. It's just so, spending on AI is fine. Spending on a national cyber force, that's fine. Doing this space nonsense is a joke. And we've already seen Trump does this, Space Force nonsense, right? That's a joke. And what they're trying to portray is this global Britain where, we're the future, we're looking to the future, we're going to be doing big things, where that's not going to happen. And the MOD itself already has, problems with black holes in their budget. So, this money is not being spent well. The MOD is not financially responsible with their spending, clearly. Yeah, the NHS needs a lot of money as well. And 3 billion for the NHS is a joke. They're giving 500 million of that's going to mental health, which is a joke. It needs a lot more funding than that. And by funding mental health, you do alleviate further problems from other places, such as with police officers maybe not being called out when someone has a mental health breakdown and things like that. Someone doesn't need to be sectioned because you've dealt with the problems early on and you understand them a lot better. And we've got the Chancellor of the Exchequer saying, speaking to Sky News, saying that the spending review would not herald the return of austerity. What you will see is an increase in the government spending day-to-day public services, quite a significant one coming on the increase of last year. And the thing is, right, if he's not spending in the right areas, we won't see the economic booms that we need, right? By giving money to lower paid workers, right, you're helping the economy, because these people, they spend money on rent. They go buy shopping. This is, I don't know if anyone's coined the phrase yet, so we'll coin it now: upshot economics, where you give money to poorer people and they spend the money. That money immediately goes back into the system, rather than giving tax cuts to the rich, where that money is most likely going to sit in their bank accounts. Give money to poorer people, help them, help the economy. I think by increasing welfare, by giving people a stable life, they can spend more money on stuff, stuff that they need around the house. They can spend money, renovating their houses and things like that. Actually, spending more money into the economy. If you think about, if you renovate your house, how much money are you spending there? You need to buy builders. You need planning permission depending on what you're doing. You might need planning permission, you might not. You're going to need resources, paint, wood, all that stuff. So you're going to shops, you're spending money. And by giving poorer people and public sector workers a pay increase, they may be more inclined to do that. But the government don't think like that, and that's what really annoys me, especially Conservative Party. They don't understand economics. I'm no expert. That's why I have Georgia. She's our, the channel's relative, economics expert. Someone who's far more intelligent than I am. But this idea that, this idea that you're going to balance the books on the backs of public sector workers is a joke. Is a joke, especially when you're spending £16 billion on the military, and on top of that, you're going to be wasting that money building a space force. What do you think you're Lex Luthor or something? This is bizarre. This is bizarre, and this is a waste of public money once again. Because I guarantee you, a lot of this money is going to be given to dodgy companies. Guaranteed, just like the COVID thing, and British satellites. We didn't need satellites when we were in part of the Galileo project. We didn't need it because it was an EU project. We were there together. So yeah, I think I can honestly say this is a waste of a lot of the money that's going to go into this, because the Space Force will be the most expensive aspect of this. An AI, a dedicated artificial AI building won't be that effective depending on how intelligent the actual coding is. And I don't have a lot of faith in this government to actually do that properly. And it's probably going to be a new form of spying, to be honest, just like GCHQ is. The creation of a national cyber force, that's a good thing. Stopping people from using ransomware and things like that against terrorist organised crime, because the new warfare is cyber warfare. It's not, clamping down. You don't batter a nation state with bombs and things like that. It's, especially if they're powerful themselves. Cyber attacks are a much more effective way of doing things. But, so that's fine. These two are fine. The third one, no. So anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Public sector workers deserve a lot better. We're letting them down. They deserve a lot better. They need more, not just more pay, but they need more staff to help them. We need to get more people, more nurses, more doctors, more police officers to help overstretched departments already. But yeah, I've rambled on long enough. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.